Oh, man. Oh, internet. It's episode number... Oh, God. Wrong
52!
View. 52! Of Brothering Around. I have 13 scenes on my open broadcast software, and I think I clicked 9 of them just now, and it went like... rattled around. But welcome. It's Brothering Around, episode number 52, and joined today not by the full crew, but 75% of the crew. We got myself, Mr. Comedy Hobo, Wes Gardner. We got Miss Moriartea time. How are you?
Hello, I'm okay.
Doing good. And Mr. Todd, EVF.
Yep.
Rocking the Reno 911 stash. I like it.
Should just start going around dick flipping people now. So
yes. Do it, man. Joey Ryan, baby. Oh, it's looking good.
Big bottle of piss in one hand and just dick flipping people with the other.
Oh, it's good times. Oh, that's what I call living. You know? That's what I call living. See, I'm the old fogey. I have like tea in here. I'm like, oh, I needed some tea for the vocals.
Yeah. I needed triple distilled Irish whiskey IPA edition. So
and I have cake vodka somewhere. Hang on, I can make the party.
Ooh, yeah. I should have got. I still have a bunch of Dos Equis from when I got married. So that's only a year.
Oh,
about
a year. Yeah.
Well, you don't always drink, but
when you
there's
do,
Dos Equis in
but
the
fridge. when I do, it's 5-year-old Dos Equis. That's what it just ages beautifully off the shelf.
So good.
That is true. Like I'll go through a deal where I'll have. God, and I used to be like, 2 a day type of stuff, but now it's like if you get me a 6-pack of beer, a 6-pack, that could easily last me 4 months.
Right.
Easily. Because I'll forget I have it. And then I'll be like, one of these days when I don't have really anything else to do later in the day or early the next morning or whatever, I'll have one of them. I'll just have one. I'll treat myself.
It's very situational. Yeah. I mean, because I'm kind of the same way, but if I'm buying it because I know something's going on, it's gone that day.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because if I were to pick it up, like going to a party or like, another couple wanted us over for dinner or something and they want us to bring drinks, then it's a done deal.
You bring 2 6-packs, one for you, one for them, and
you're dead. You're just in the corner, like, perfectly normal, perfectly healthy. Yeah. And they're like, "Are you okay?"
Yes.
You have the bottle of Jameson, and you're like, "Leave it alone,
my precious."
Yeah, God, you're like Jameson instead of Gollum, like Gollum.
Yep. Nobody drinks from my preciouses.
Well, how you really made it is like put it in your own sippy cup, but have the sippy cup with the handles on the side.
But it has to have the 2.
Yes.
Out of the dollar bin at Walmart.
Oh yeah.
So they're made just of the highest quality.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and you don't have to worry about accidentally poisoning yourself. So I mean,
no. I mean that plastic's probably molded all the way, right? It's probably dried by the time it got to the store. Who knows what'll break off into that delicious beverage for your children.
Yeah. Then you find out it was Tom Nook that made it. He gives you all the money.
He's like, those bells I gave you? By the way, how are you liking it? I saw, this was even probably like, 3 weeks ago, that you were playing some Animal Crossing on stream. GameCube version, right? It was the GameCube version.
Yep.
And it was funny, because the day after, I think I was streaming and Maury joined my stream, and I was like, I saw Todd, and I saw you in Todd's chat, and I saw, he was playing some Animal Crossing. And she was like, yeah, he's liking it. It's really bizarre, but it's good. And I was like, let me tell you a way to get 200,000 bells in 15 minutes. And she's like, what did I? Whoa, hold on a minute. Like, are we going down an alley? Like, what are you talking about there? Like, I can show you how to get some bells.
So, I mean, what I thought was fun was, somebody in my chat, I think it may have been Thurballen, said, so you're playing a game about human slavery. And I'm like, yeah, basically.
Oh, my God.
Because, you're the only human there.
True. Yeah.
You're Tom Nook's bitch.
Yeah.
Because he does that whole thing of like, oh, hey, got a nice house for you. I got 4 of them. Choose the one you want. All right, you like this one? Really set on that? Yeah, I really like this one. Okay, cool. That'll be 18,000 bells. And you're like, I have 1,000. Oh, I'll let you move in there. You'll just have to work for me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you do honestly, 20 minutes worth of work for him. And it's just all this fetch quest bullshit. And he's just like, now you gave me the 1,000 bells already. So that knocked it down to 17. Now you only owe me 1680, 16,800 bells. And I'm like, the fuck? Oh, and make sure you deliver it to the post office. Can't be seeing an exchange between you and me.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. You have to give it by envelope. If you can't, if it's not white and you can't snort stuff through it, Tom Nook doesn't want it.
Yep.
That's basically what it is.
I've never played Animal Crossing. I have to try it now.
Oh, he makes I want to say he makes a comment in the first game oh, and if I don't get my money, I might have to send my raccoon goons after you.
Yeah.
And and then he's just like, oh, I'm just kidding. And you're like,
he does this party
mob boss.
I'm sitting there playing this, and I'm like, you're not kidding. No, I know how this goes.
He is very real. And because I'm and I will say this lovingly, is I actually have a 3DS, and I have my 3DS by my bed every single night. Every night before bed, I'm the old man that has to, instead of reading a chapter of a book, I have to play 2 or 3 games on the 3DS. But Animal Crossing is part of my daily routine. So I'll turn it on, and I'll tell you the first thing that I do. So in this one, in the 3DS version, Tom Nook's not there. It's his sons. So it's his 2 sons, and his name is it's Timmy Nook, and something else Ed or something. But they're the little tiny ones, so they wear little aprons and stuff, and they're like, haha, we have all these fun hobbies. We're meat butchers, and you'll go and they'll be cooking and shit, and they're like, haha, I can't wait to get your money. Be sure to pay us with the. So they're very well trained, and so what my deal is I was like, okay. I'm going to start the game. I have my shovel. I need to go dig the fossils. I'm going to get the fossils, and then I need to go to Blathers, because Blathers is the only person that knows how to identify the fossils. So I have to go over to and I'm like, here's my fossils, and I know I have a good night in Animal Crossing if I find 4. You don't always find 4, but sometimes you find 4. And I'm like, oh, 4, it's going to be payday today. Woohoo! So what you do is you go and you hope. You're like, Blathers, please look at my fossils. And he's like, all right, we already have all these. And I was like, yes, that means I get to sell them. But sometimes he'll be like, no, we still need this one in the museum. So I'm going to take that one. And we're going to. And for the first month, I wouldn't make any money. I was like, oh, because every fossil I would find, he's like, we could use this in the museum. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Would you like to donate it? It'd be a real shame if you didn't donate it. Fuck, you could have it. Here, just take it. But now the museum's about 90% done. So I think it's seasonal, literally seasonal. Now that it's spring, I bet the fossils are different, and it'll fill up the museum. So I do that, and then I'll go hit the shovel against all the rocks, because sometimes the rocks give you money. So you'll hit it, and then the coins will pop out, and the bags will pop out, and you'll be like, yeah, money. And this is terrible that I know this, but you get exactly 6,622 bells if you get all of the coins out of the deal. And I know that because I budgeted in. So I'm like, okay, we're going to do that. Now I get to go on a boat, and I go to an island and catch a bunch of bugs. And the bugs you have to sneak up on. You have to sneak up with a little thing. This is an hour and a half every fucking night. My time on Animal Crossing for the 3DS, and I've had it since September, is 276 hours.
Oh my god.
That's my time played. And it's just doing the same shit over and over. I'll go do the fossils. Here, Blathers. Oh, thank you, sir. Over and over. And then people are complaining about the town. Well, we wish you would do more public works projects. And I was like, fuck it. I'll buy you a well. So that's here's a well. You can have a park bench. And I'm like, just shovel it out. Let's get it going. And then people celebrate it. They're like, you're so good, Mayor. Thank you. But then, and here's where it gets you. Then people start spreading rumors. So they're like, so Mayor, we heard you're a bell pincher. I was like, you motherfucker. Who do you think bought this well? You didn't do it. I gave that money willingly. I gave all of it. That little droid thing that dances around when you have to donate to it, he says, we don't have any money. And then I just pay him all. And he's like, thanks for your patronage. And then the next day, they're like, oh, let's open up the stop sign that I spent 200,000 bells on. Like, ridiculous. Just gouging, dude.
So I'm guessing you're waiting on them to release a version for the Switch.
Yeah, see, and that'll be good. And that's another thing. After we talk about the Daniel Bryan stuff, I'm having, like, should I buy a Switch? Because the more I'm thinking about it, right? I love my 3DS dearly because I get to play it in bed.
Right.
Pop it up. Yeah, Pokemon. Sure, let's do this. Oh, let's do some puzzle games. They also have this really insidious game. Speaking of, like, the future of Tom Nook and stuff. So do you guys have a 3DS?
I do, yes.
Okay. So that free to start game of the crane game with the rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
The badge arcade or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That rabbit is on another level of sleazy salesman. Because he's like,
this game, hang on.
So it is free to play. You could download it for free. And it's called Badge Arcade. And I think on the eShop, it's actually at that part called free to start. Or it's like a menu thing that you can do. And he's like, hey, welcome. And he's all chipper. And like, hey, well, he kind of looks like the Energizer Bunny. But he's a carny. Like, he's an actual carny. And
God damn it.
he really is. And he's like, but what's really insidious about it is he's a carny because you pay real money for coins to play the game, the crane game. So like, so you get some free plays on that crane game every single day, right? You get some free plays. It's like, oh, I'll give you 2 free plays. Let's get it going. And then you get it going, and then you get a practice play, and if you get enough of the badges, you unlock another free play. But then after that, you can get 5 plays for $1. But it's a real $1. And it's hooked up to your Nintendo account. So he's hustling you and all those children for real money to play a crane game. That he's an actual carny. Like a 100% genuine. And he does all these like suave dance moves and stuff, and he's like, hey, we're doing some specials. If you get the pixel badges, we'll give you some free backgrounds. Like, it's song and dancey. The whole thing. But I play it every night. I'm like, I'm just going to use my free plays. I haven't spent a dime on it, and I'm up to like 789 badges or something. But I haven't spent a dime on it. So I was like, I'll stick it to you, man. Stick it to you, bunny. You can't get me. I'm smarter than this.
Wait, nope, back.
I really got to find my charger for this. And you have great taste.
I know. So do you. Fantastic.
Nice, the same 3DS. Oh, that's awesome.
Should just pretend to throw it off screen, and Maury just picks hers up.
Hey! But man, 3DS. I still think 3DS. Thinking about it more and more, 3DS might be my favorite Nintendo system ever.
I just wish that there was just an easier way to stream from it.
Yeah.
Without having to spend like $400 to get it fucking modded.
With an HDMI out. Ugh. Yeah. That's a whole thing.
Because I would play the shit. I have Majora's Mask. I'd play the shit out of that on the 3DS.
That's a great version.
Yeah, yeah.
I really need to play Zelda. I'm that person that hasn't played Zelda, like, really at all. I'm a sad geek.
No, because everyone has one. Everyone has the one, like, thing that, everyone loves it, everyone's played it, how dare you never play blah, blah, blah. But everyone's got one.
See, I missed out on a lot of, like, the later Zelda stuff after the SNES. Because I didn't have a N64, I didn't have a GameCube.
Yeah.
Got games for the GameCube, but I didn't have a GameCube, So
yeah, sure.
So for me, like, when I got my 3DS, everybody was just like, the port of Majora's Mask is fucking perfect.
Oh, it's good.
You need to, and I'm like, all right. And that was the first. I originally was going to buy Monster Hunter, and they were like, "Oh, we're out of stock on it." I'm like, "All right, fine. If you're out of stock on it, I'll just get it on the Nintendo shop."
Yeah.
And they're just like, "Well, wait, we have a used." I'm just like, "No, not interested."
Nope. No. See, and that's the other thing. Oh, and because of the 3DS, with the new 3DS and how it's so bizarre, because I have a launch Nintendo 3DS. It's up in my closet. Then I buckled down, and I was like, okay, I play my 3DS a lot, and this thing's wearing out. It's a few years old now. You know, I need to get the new one. So I got the new Nintendo 2DS XL. So the one that has the stick built in, like the other stick built in, it cut out the 3D so the battery life's longer. The screen's bigger, and it's just like a bigger size deal. So it's like top tier connoisseur, but it doesn't have like the 3D because I was like, I never used it anyway. Like, it's cool to look at some stuff. But the one game that I'm like, now I'm gonna scour eBay for, and I think it's like $30, which is not bad. Dude, Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater is on the freaking 3DS. Like, are you kidding me? This system has Metal Gear Solid 3. It has all these Monster Hunters. It has crazy Fire Emblem games. It has Dragon Quest. It has all, like, Super Metroid, Link to the Past, like, all these Super Nintendo classics. I'm like, are you... This one system has all this shit. And, like, if you want to talk about a game that takes forever to beat, you start digging into Etrian Odyssey. Etrian Odyssey is the biggest grognard, neckbeardy RPG shit because it's like old school Ultima. And like you draw out your own map on the screen and like you, okay, well, this enemy can kill you in 2 hits, but if you customize your party a certain way, like it's ridiculous. That game is absurd. And I have 3 of them. And one of them, I think it's 115 hours of my save file, and I'm about halfway through it. Just monster games. And, you know, you pick these up cheap now because all the hype's going for Switch. That 3DS, they're starting to clearance that stuff out. And that's a great time to get it because there is some monster games on the 3DS. Like, genuine bona fide classics. And, yeah, you got freaking Ocarina of Time, and it's fully backwards compatible with every DS game. Yeah. So now you got that whole library. You got the Chrono Trigger Perfect remake, like remaster edition. You have Radiant Historia, which now just got re-released on 3DS, and just crazy value. Like especially if you're a fan of JRPGs.
So I just looked it up. Were you looking for if you're looking for a new copy, like enjoy paying buku bucks, right? But found a used copy GameStop, $20.
Yeah, because you can get it on the eShop for $20. So,
but if you're the Power Up Reward Elite Pro member, it's only $15.99.
See, what's funny is
bunch of savings.
I will poke fun at that dumb Elite shit, but guess who's an Elite member? This guy right here, this Joker. This chucklehead. But I will say because, you know, you spend the $15 a year or whatever. Plus, one of my boys writes for Game Informer. So it's like, okay, sure, give me the Game Informer thing. Like, I'll read what Imran has to say. Absolutely. Yeah. You know, but then sometimes they'll do like, oh, buy 1, get 2 free if you're a Elite Pro, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, that's how you stock up easy on like 360 games that are backwards compatible with Xbox One. Mwah. Because they give that shit away. So you make out like a bandit, man.
Yeah, no, I will say that the backwards compatible stuff is it's a sense of which games, like some people are like, oh, I'll only buy a game if it's backwards compatible, but they seem to still be adding more to it. Yeah. So I mean, I bought a bunch of digital games on the Xbox. So like every now and then I'll load up my Xbox One and it'll just be like ready to install. And I'm like, oh, what do we have? Ooh. Oh, we have Crazy Taxi. That's amazing.
Because I saw you play. You were playing some Red Dead not too long ago.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, so that's the big one.
I restarted Red Dead and I was just like, I've gotten to the point where if I'm doing a long stream, I'll get like 3 to 4 hours into something and I'll just be like, I don't want to ruin this for me. So I'm going to go and play something else now.
Yeah, right. It's so good. Whenever they announced that game was coming to the backwards compatible, I was like, done. But I want to buy the physical copy of it. Like, so I still haven't got it yet.
See, and the thing is I have the physical copy. So I have the physical copy of it. But if you don't have the DLC, look for the game of the year. Red
Oh
Dead.
yeah, because it came with the zombie thing, right?
Well, it comes with all the microtransaction bullshit DLC they had for like multiplayer, which added certain things into single player as well, like the explosive rifle and stuff.
Gotcha. Right.
But then it also added the whole Undead Nightmare campaign, which
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Which was actually really good for a zombie mode, basically.
Yeah. Well, that was Rockstar ever since that. Really, they were kind of on point with like Grand Theft Auto 4. What were the two that came out for that? It was
Lost and Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony.
Yes. So both of those, like Lost and the Damned was kind of the one because they were like, this is, I mean, they basically made Sons of Anarchy, but inside of Grand Theft Auto 4.
It was of the DLCs for Grand Theft Auto 4, which is about to celebrate its 10 year, which is amazing.
That's nuts.
Because I remember buying it at launch.
Yeah, like I remember working midnight fucking launch on that game.
Yeah. I mean, I was thankful we didn't do midnight launches, but right. I remember working and them being like, we got 20 copies for the PS3 and we got 45 for the Xbox 360. And I'm like, can you pull one to the side for me? And they go, no. And I'm like, fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm working when like the game doesn't come out for like a week. So I'm going to be working that day anyway. No big deal. So it was just one of those situations. But
yeah,
it's just, I'm so happy I've never had to work a midnight release. I'm so happy I've never had to do that shit.
There's a few that I loved working that like I genuinely look back and I was like, that is a great memory and I'm going to take it to the grave because that is some rad shit. So I didn't work at a game store during the launch of World of Warcraft, but I did during Wrath of the Lich King. And the Wrath of the Lich King launch was fucking baller. That was the coolest thing. Because, dude, it was a block's worth of people. Like, because we were on the inside. Well, no. We worked at the EB Games that was in the inside of a mall. And, like, at the lower level, there's a Babbage's. And they both got bought out by GameStop. So, basically, they took our stuff. And we all went to the GameStop that was in like a brick and mortar shopping center. That whole parking lot was packed. And they had like a live DJ out there. They had all kinds of stuff going on. They had pizza for everybody. And that pizza bill was probably 10 grand. It had to have been. Because they fed everybody. Like if you were waiting in line, hey, some people waiting 13, 14 hours. Here you go, man. They have all this stuff. They had the local news there. It was a riot. And yeah, so it was a big deal. And then the other one was Final Fantasy 12. I remember working that one too, and I still have my collector's edition like jewel case, the whatever kind of case it is, and the Steelbook edition.
Yeah.
And we were allowed to run. There was a documentary disc that comes with it, and we were allowed to run that on loop. And it talked about the history of Final Fantasy going up all the way to 12. And it's about an hour and 20 minutes long. And it's actually really hard to find that disc. I think I still got it in mine. It's really hard to find that, and it's going for a whole bunch of money. But yeah, midnight launches usually suck.
And 12 wasn't even like a super well received one either.
No, yeah, it really wasn't. I mean, people got it and they're like, what is this? But I was way in it because I was just coming off of Ultima Online. So I'm like, this is just like Ultima Online. I felt like this is an MMO, but I get to play it by myself, and there's a story. It's amazing.
Which was the one where they got rid of the magic system? Like, was that 12?
Was it 8? Or no, because 8 had junctions.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of did where you would basically, there were little areas in the world called junction points, and you would run up and it looked like a save point, and you would just draw. So you would hit the X button, and it's like, you pulled out 3 fires, you pulled out 3 blizzards, you pulled out 3, and each spot had its own, you were like mining water from the well, but it would give you, so magic worked like items. Like you could have a certain amount of ice or Faraga or whatever.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so you could, but then you could use that, and if you had a junction, or if you had one of your guardians, I think they called them, which is the summoning, like Ifrit and Shiva and all that.
Yeah.
It would boost up whatever item you had. Like, it worked okay, but it was really bizarre. It was off the beaten path, especially after 7. Like, 7 was so cut and dry and very clear, and, like, you knew what you were doing, and you get this material and do that. But then 8 really kind of changed that. They took a different turn, and not a lot of people liked it. Um,
And then again, a lot of people didn't like the movie either, but I'm just saying I enjoyed Spirit Within.
yeah, I mean, I did too for what it was. I saw it in the theater.
Yeah, same here.
And people were leaving like, what the? I was like,
yeah,
it was some science shit. I don't know.
Yeah. I was just like, this is amazing. Like, this is a like super well done CG and so on. Like, I looked at it from a technical standpoint where I was just like,
beautiful.
This is fucking gorgeous. And I will make the argument that there are some big budget animated 3D films, I mean like CG films, that still can't hit the level of detail that they did in Spirit Within.
That's true, because like they would, in the whole history lesson, it almost bombed Square, because they spent so much money and so much time on it. But if you go and look at it, even now, like you said, you look at some of the stuff, like if there's a big kiosk computer or something on a wall, if you look at it, there's like dusty fingerprints and stuff. They went so deep down that rabbit hole of like realism and trying to get, what's the light flare look like from this thing? They just spent forever on it. And like, and that led to Advent Children, which I really liked. Like, I'm a crazy guy that loved Advent Children. The only thing I don't like about Advent Children is now Square is trying to make all of their RPGs have Advent Children fights. Like, you know what I mean? They're trying to, we're going to flip. And it started with Final Fantasy 13, which I despise. Like, that game is dog shit. That is an absolute waste of time. And I still believe it. I have it on Steam. I have the physical copy. I got the collector's blah, 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 all this other stuff. I've tried to play that game 7 times. Can't get past the first 2 hours because I'm like, nope, this is terrible. It's everything.
If you bought it 3 times, I did.
I did. I bought it and I was like, I'm gonna sell this shit. Get rid of it. And then about a year would go by and I was like,
you are a glutton for punishment, sir.
I was like, maybe I was too hard on it. Maybe, you know what? I like Final Fantasy. I'm a reasonable person.
And we tend to do that shit though, where it's just like we get it and we're like, I could always just sell it and whatnot. And then you're like, no, because there's going to be that one day where it's going to finally click.
Yeah, yes, because people love this thing. But the thing is, and people always try to trip me up, and this is where send the hate mail to Brothering Around somewhere. Send it to one of us. We'll read it. It's
allowed.
Yeah,
feed me your hate mail.
Give it. But people always try to trip me up and like, you hate Final Fantasy 13, but what do you think about Final Fantasy 10? I was like, I hate that shit too, because of the exact same reasons.
Yeah.
Because all the linearity and like the overzealous voice acting and...
I have a love-hate relationship with 10. It has a special place in my heart solely because it's the first Final Fantasy game I ever played.
Okay, well, see, and that's fair. Because it's kind of like Mario Kart, right? Mm-hmm. They say the first one that you ever play is probably your favorite. Or at least a stepping stone to... So yeah, I could totally see it. And here's the thing. Final Fantasy X is way above 13. Way above it. Like, as far as quality and the whole package and like, oh my god, it's not even close. However, it's still my second least favorite Final Fantasy. Because the stuff I love about it is I'm the boring guy, man. I will level grind for 7 hours. Stay in the same place running in a circle. Like, that's how my mind works. I'm like, well, I'm gonna min-max this and I need to blah blah blah. Like, I'll tell myself that stuff and I just have a patience for it. But 10 didn't need to do that. Like, Final Fantasy X, the story was kind of goofy, but I will say there was some genuinely, like, poignant moments where I was like, that was a really good setup. Like, the ending, people will talk about, Titus and Yuna. All the shit with Auron, man. Auron was...
Oh, my God.
That dude is on point. Like, I was like, that might be the best written character they've ever made. Yes. Because he didn't say a whole lot. But he didn't need to. And
exactly.
Normally Square's very much like, let me talk about my emotions and we're going to exposition for 20 hours. And it's like, oh my God. But that was a character that they had enough confidence in that they just let it breathe. They let a thing happen. And then the big plot reveal with him at the end, nothing is said. You just see it happen. And you're like, oh, that makes total sense. And then all the shit starts happening. So
I also think one of the issues with 13 was its super fucking long tutorial.
I'm a big person about hyperbole. Like, I do hyperbole all the time. That is legitimately a 17-hour tutorial. And that's not an exaggeration.
I thought it was longer than that.
It might
because
be.
I've heard people legit and not even being ironic, like talking about Final Fantasy 13, and people are like, I really can't get into it and stuff like that. And they're like, well, how many hours have you put into it? And they're like, oh, I've put about 30 hours into it. And they're like, oh, you're still in the tutorial. Yeah. And you're like, fucking what?
Oh,
right.
God.
And here's the thing is I'm pretty apologetic about some dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
I will be the first to admit you can quote me and talk shit on Metal Gear Solid all you want, and that's fine because I know it's dumb and it's hokey and it makes no sense, but I love it to death. I love it. I could write a thesis about it because I'm in it. But with Final Fantasy 13, there is no excuse. I don't care what cockamamie idea you have. Because here's the deal. If the first 30 hours was engaging, whatever. Yeah. You could argue that some of the longer form games out now, Witcher 3, probably it takes you about 20-ish hours to get used to that game. I mean, to really figure out what it is. But those first 20 hours are magic. It's like you want to keep going.
It is completely engaging, and you're just like, you don't realize you're playing a tutorial.
Right.
That's the biggest thing.
You're being introduced new things when you thought you saw it all.
Yeah.
So it's this constant revelation of like, oh, whoa, I could do what? What's Gwent? I don't know what Gwent is. Let me sit down. You got a fucking card game in this game? Like,
fucking Gwent.
Yeah, so you have that, right? But with Final Fantasy 13, it plays, sorry for the pun, but it plays all of its cards in like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
Everything you're going to see for the first 20 hours, you see in the first hour. Because it's like, oh, well, you're going to link up the battle system's really engaging. And it's like, not really, man. You just kind of, okay, you have 3 slots. Do I want a thing that takes up 2 slots and then a 1-slot attack? Or do I do the 3 separate ones? Or do I do the 1 long one?
Yeah, and then on top of that, they also have the whole completely and totally forcing it down your throat for the rest of that time. It's like, I know you're an hour 19, but we just want to remind you.
Did you know you have options? You could do 2 of them. You could do what? You're like, and then they do a star rating system on the battles. You got 5 stars on the battle. And you're like, I did great.
Fucking Dave Meltzer.
I did. Yeah, it's like, thanks, Dave. Thanks for dusting me off. Like, get me all that. What do I get for my rank? Oh, you get a potion. A potion?
No,
I did a 5-star boss fight. And congrats, you got an extra 50 gil.
I just
don't spend it all in one place.
I don't care. I give a shit about your 50 extra gil. I want cold beer for that 5-star battle.
But Todd, let me tell you something. You got 5 stars, and you know what we're gonna give you? A potion. We know how hard you work.
I am going to give you the middle finger and walk the fuck away.
but Todd, did you know how many choices you had in that? So you could have done this or this, and you still would have got a 5-star rating.
I know how many choices I had because you've only been telling me about the choices for the last 18 and a half hours.
So just so we're clear, the choices you have really just it's that for that experience for 20 hours.
Uninstall.
And I think the biggest it is a straight line.
Yeah, it's super linear.
You don't explore. It looks pretty. That game looks gorgeous. Holy shit.
I think that's one of the problems with some of the games nowadays, though, where they're going for like the super gorgeous, but in doing so, they make things so fucking linear.
Yeah.
And it's like
it's true.
Have you played Sea of Thieves yet, or?
No, I have not, and I don't know if I don't know. Like, I don't know.
So I'm just like I played it on launch. I had fun with it. I'm not gonna lie, but the thing is, it is a game you need to play with people. That is first and foremost.
Sure.
You need to play it with people. It's part of the Xbox Game Pass, which is like $10 a month. And I believe that covers both PC and console.
Because I was thinking about doing that anyway.
Yeah. So I mean,
just
it's
to have it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really nice thing to have. And but yeah, I mean, playing that, the first thing I will tell people about the game, because I learned this the hard way, there is no tutorial. They just drop you right in the game.
Fair.
And you're just like,
all right,
what am I doing?
Learn how to do this shit.
Yeah.
Got someone shooting cannonballs at your ass.
Pirate.
Yeah. Go pirate it out.
Yeah. Like, I got to talk to people or what? Where's my ship?
I think, and it's funny because, we mentioned like Monster Hunter earlier. And Monster Hunter's found huge success with Monster Hunter World. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we're at a time now to where developers are and I think we could probably thank Dark Souls for this.
Mm-hmm.
Is
cool point.
We have more games now that are deliberate. Mm-hmm. Like, go be a pirate. We're going to give you mechanics on being a pirate, and like boarding up the side gash in the side of your hull. And so you have to think that way, or the same way like PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Mm-hmm. How you're going to land and fucking 100 people are coming at you. How would you do this in real life? Oh, well, I'd probably take this gun and then hide over here and then look out this window like that. You physically have to do the thing. Like, your character has to make the attempt of, instead of seeing a cutscene like Call of Duty where a helicopter's crashing and stuff, like, if the helicopter crashes, it's because somebody fucked up. Like, they can't drive the helicopter and they crashed it. Like, things are really happening. Yeah. And so Sea of Thieves, Fortnite or PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, or, DayZ, Dark Souls, these games that you really have to train for. You have to like get better at it. You have to understand how the mechanics work.
Get good, scrub.
Yeah, get good, bro. 420 blaze it, no scope. Yeah. And so but that's what it is, right? You have to, and then you go to the real extreme and you play like Arma, to where, or like a flight sim, to where like the plane doesn't move unless you know exactly the trajectory of like every button on your keyboard does something type of thing, to where. Well, you have to hold down the F7 and hold back. It's
like playing Steel Battalion.
Yeah. You have the big old buttons and eject and
Have either of you had the pleasure of playing Steel Battalion with the control? Okay, so you know what's going on.
My buddy had, so it is a literal, so Maury, it is genuinely a two joystick, or no, one's a joystick and one's like a throttle. Right?
Yeah,
like
the joystick, the throttle. You had like a myriad of buttons.
And it wraps around you a little bit.
Yeah. Controller takes up 2 controller ports. It has foot pedals. And then it has a little plastic case on like the top corner that you have to flip up to hit your eject. Like, honestly, I will say it was arguably the best and most immersive mech game I've ever played.
Oh yeah, because you're controlling. Because what they did that was so genius about it is it was a pretty much a 1-to-1. Like the HUD and the UI that you have in the game matches what you're looking at.
Yeah.
So you could get good enough that you wouldn't have to look down at your hands because you could see it on the screen, and you could hit the buttons and you were really like doing this stuff. Yeah, super ballsy to do that. And like,
oh yeah.
If you want to just have a heart attack, go look at the price of the full kit for that.
Oh God!
On eBay, oh buddy.
Oh.
Well, at least for the first game, the second one, because they made so many and people are just like, these things are going to be rare. They could barely give them away.
Yeah, it's like Guitar Hero packs or something.
Yeah.
They're like, please take these, get them out of our store. So yeah, like
that's how I got the Rock Band 2 kit for like $20. Like,
that's
drums, guitar, microphone, which I still use. Like,
yeah, I got the Guitar Hero Live for the Wii U for $3, sealed with the guitar. They were like, please. I'm like, yeah, man. Yeah. Thank you.
Here, we'll give you $20 to take this from us.
Please, please, we'll pay for your parking, your lunch. Just come by. We'll see you soon.
Just don't tell Tom Nook because we still owe him.
Please, oh my God. Please, we need to pedal. We thought it would get us our money back to get all these in the store, but it wouldn't.
God damn it.
We made a grave mistake.
Mistakes were made.
That's how it sounds bad. And more hate mail send to Brothering Around. That's how I feel about all those cryptocurrency people. They just bought it. I got my .0017 dog coin. Trade it, bro. Fucking Tom Nook your ass, man. That's what we got to do. We got to make a brothering around coin.
Oh God.
I would not be against that.
We have to have a render farm of this.
Yeah.
That takes up the amount of like draws more energy than all of New Zealand. And they're like,
I mean,
what,
we
what
can
do you...
just use New Zealand. I mean,
Oh, there you go. That's fair. Fair play. Then it's like, oh well. So that seems like just a weird market to me because the only people buying that shit are other people buying that shit.
Yeah.
That seems like it's not gonna work. Like, if just the three of us started trading like push pins as currency,
I mean,
but only us three.
It's so fucking Fallout. That is exactly what it is.
Yeah. You bottle caps. Like,
we're just giving caps to each other.
And they're not even real. There's no tangible evidence they ever existed. Like, that's some carny shit, dude. It's like, no, the thing says that you have the currency. So just keep getting the currency. And you're like,
so I'm hearing that during Jeff Jarrett's acceptance speech for the Hall of Fame, he's going to bring up cryptocurrency and how they should sign up for his Jarrett coin.
Oh my God.
So, please let this happen. Please let it happen.
Because the Global Force Gold thing didn't work out, so let's try some cryptocurrency.
He could just go straight like Alex Jones and sell dick pills or whatever they sell on those deals. Just be like, oh, it makes your brain smarter, brain fuel.
Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, I always felt so bad because I worked in the supplement shop for a while, and like I was a sports supplement guy and everything, and the stuff's never quite what Dr. Oz tells you. I'm sorry to say, it's never quite what they're. So, I'm gonna get this testosterone booster, and then you're like, that's not really what it does. Like the side effects, like you'll probably be more sexual and stuff, but it's not raising anything. It's just so a lot of the stuff is out. But then anytime I hear someone say, I took this supplement that only cost $20 and it upped my brain activity by 200%.
Oh, you must have had no brain activity then.
Nope. Yeah.
Clearly not. He bought it.
And like the wife and I will be watching TV. This happened today. We were watching some show on Discovery, and there was a commercial for like, it was almost like a spa that you go to, and they chill fat cells from your body. Like, it's called like the cold press or something. And like, you just go in and you lay down and we run this thing over your body. And then it's like your stomach and put almost like a tanning bed. And like, and then after 12 sessions, you're going to lose 4% of your body fat. And I was like, I just, from the kitchen, I yell, fucking fake. Like, that shit ain't happening. No way. Nope.
I mean,
thanks again. Sorry.
I'm not gonna say that all supplements won't help you, because some will. I mean,
yeah, sure.
When you hit a certain age, you have to start worrying about things, and it means that you have to take 4 pills every morning to ensure that you have a healthy body.
Your prune juice goes a long way, kids. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just like, but at the same time, you don't go and, like, if you're buying supplements, know what you're getting.
Yeah.
Realize that if it says it's this kind of booster or it's going to increase this, they're full of shit.
Yeah.
But it's just.
Because here's the deal. At the end of the day, even the tobacco industry, on the label, they put, like, this is probably going to lead to something. Yeah. Like, they're like, we advise you not to do this. However, legally, they cannot say, and even doctors can't say, that smoking causes lung cancer. It's not a 1-to-1.
Yeah.
The correlation and causation are 2 different things. George Burns, a stand-up comedian, smoked fucking cigars since the age of like 7. He lived to be 109 years old.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not an everyday case thing. However, like, on that same deal, anybody that claims that our supplement is definitely going to blah, blah, blah,
full of shit.
the moment they say, if the tobacco company is not allowed to say, yeah, this shit probably won't cause much, or like they're really wishy-washy about that, there's a way easier correlation of 1-to-1 to those two things.
Yeah.
Than like, if you take this fish oil pill, what that's going to do is your bone cartilage is going to start. No, it's not. Like
Bone cartilage.
Yeah, it's like there's whatever. Like I mean, there are certain things that they help with. But it's like some people would come up to me, oh, should I take a multivitamin? I've heard that, I should, or I've heard that I shouldn't. And I'm like, sure. It's not going to hurt. You're going to get more vitamin. You're going to get more vitamin A than you had before because now you're getting vitamin A from somewhere. Shit, or eat more carrots.
It's funny. I had a friend that worked in a GNC, and the best thing would be just hanging out in the shop because I'm this fat kid in a supplement store, which is hilarious. And I'm watching him just sell stuff, and then people are just like, should I get a multivitamin? He goes, yeah, absolutely. It's the best thing for you. And the second they leave, he's just like, and I didn't even ring that up. That goes right in my pocket.
That's awesome. Yeah. I don't know. They always say that the best supplement or like the best exercise is the one that you do. The best supplement's the one that you take. The best exercise. Yeah. So there's something to that. Like if you're willing to make the step to do like self-help, that's the step. It's not the actual self-help part. It's the fact that you want to make a change. That's where you start. But then that whole industry feeds on that emotion of like, we're going to help you achieve your dream. And you're like, maybe. Like, I take protein every single day. I take it every morning, every night before bed. I haven't been to the gym to lift in like 6 months. But whenever I go back, I fucking know I'm going to have enough protein. Like, because I've been taking it, It's because I don't get enough of it in my actual diet. So then you supplement your diet with powder protein. Yeah. That's how it works. And that part's legit, but I'm not going to say, oh, well, I'm super way stronger because I take protein every morning.
Yeah.
No, I'm the same strength I'm always going to be. Like, regardless, it's there's weird.
The only thing I would say though is because I noticed with me with dieting, when I increase the protein in my diet, I tend to lose a lot quicker. That's a thing. Like, it's just. I mean, I'm not sure if it's just the way I'm built or whatnot, but
So that brings up genetics.
Yeah.
And whenever people talk about genetics, that's genetics. Like, will protein heighten your sensitivity to insulin or like how the carbs you're taking in, or that's your genetics. But you would hear people all the time, people coming in 400 pounds. Oh, I tried calories in versus calories out, and that doesn't work. Yeah, it does. Like, just take in less calories than you need to maintain your weight, and you're going to lose weight. Period. Like, I don't care who you are. That works on animals. That works on humans. If you're taking in less than your body needs, you will get smaller. Like, that's science. But that's the part, well, that doesn't work for everyone. No, that does work for everyone. What is different based on genetics is, well, I'm doing bench press or I'm doing, bicep curls. How big are my biceps going to get? Yeah. Well, that's up to your genetics. Like, I don't know. Everyone's arms are different and your wingspan's different and like your shoulders lay slightly different and everyone's slightly different. Like, perfect example, look at Kofi Kingston. I guarantee you Kofi Kingston does bench press 4 times a week. That dude has no chest. None. Genetics.
Yeah.
He just got the bad stick on that one. It was but then you look at Big E. That dude has chest for days. Genetics. I mean, that's perfect example of genetics. Like, some people are going to be just hosses, and then other people not so much. But to say like, well, eating cleaner and eating healthier food didn't help me at all. Oh, really? It didn't help you at all, huh? You didn't get better sleep. It's like, okay, sure.
See, the thing is, like, people misconstrue the whole calorie in, calorie out thing.
Yeah.
A lot of times. They'll be like, oh, well, right now I'm eating like 16,000 calories. If I cut it down.
I'm going to get gains, bro.
If I cut that down to only 12,000, And it's just like, well, maybe if you're 6'9",
Yeah.
and like you're already built, like
yeah,
maybe.
if you are on steroids and you are literally the guy that plays the Mountain on Game of Thrones, that might work. But normal human beings, no.
Are you a professional athlete? No, you're not.
Yeah. Then why the fuck are you taking in 10,000 calories? Yeah.
There is no reason for you to do that. I mean, it's ridiculous though. It really is. Like I don't keep an eye on my calorie count. I just go, okay, I know if I make this is good for me for the day.
Yeah.
Or I got to run to the store. Let me run to the store, and it's like Maury knows because I've talked to her about it. It's 2 miles there and 2 miles back.
Yeah.
So I'll walk 2 miles to the store, and I'll go and I'll pick up my stuff and maybe get like a burrito or a sandwich or something like that. Walk 2 miles back, and I'm like, okay, I've done a 4-mile walk.
Yeah.
I need a treat.
There's my 550 calorie workout. Yeah, like for sure. And yeah, that's the best way to do it. And it's because if I get super hardcore back in it again, like I do, I even got to the point to where I would weigh food. Like I had the little scale and like I'm gonna put the rice grains on here. But then after doing that for about 2 years, you learn it. And okay, about that much of this, and that's about 36 grams of protein. And then over here, that's about 420 calories. And I'm usually on by about 10 to 15 calories. Like I got it down pretty well now.
We're not going to start worrying about you until you start wrapping yourself in trash bags to reduce the water weight.
Which is like, ain't going to happen. And like I always make the joke that I'm always bulking. Like if I'm not bulking, I'm maintaining. I'll stay at the same calories. And like over the past 2 years, without even really weighing food or anything, kind of knowing it, I've only fluctuated up or down about 6 pounds.
Just that is amazing.
I found like homeostasis. Your body wants to find equilibrium, so then it wants to stay right there. So like, whenever I would be big time lift and like I had freaking Goldberg shoulders and all that shit, like I was at 219, but I was only at about 10% body fat, like, it was kind of stupid to get to that point anyway, because I couldn't do things. Like I was at the point to where I couldn't sit correctly in like vehicles. And like I couldn't like scratch my back, like I looked like I had T-Rex arms. Like it was like it was like Scott Steiner. Like I couldn't do stuff. I couldn't like I had a lot of mobility and agility, but I just couldn't. Like there were certain things I couldn't do. Like I had problems sometimes. I would cramp while I was like shaving my head.
Oh yeah.
Because you're like reaching back behind here, and now I have all this flexibility because I lost 15 of those pounds.
Yeah.
But there was just too much. And I was like, ugh. But what made me feel real happy was I remember, and I talked about it like years ago on that I did for the, because someone asked me to do like a fitness podcast thing. So I did like a 2.5 hour long episode just about fitness and answer questions and all that stuff. And what inspired me was Tom Hardy, whenever he played Bane. I was like, dude, that guy's jacked. That guy's ripped. Oh my God, that's insane. Like he looks nuts. And then someone asked him, like, well, what are your dimensions like whenever you played Bane? And, this is at the point where I was, I'm 5'11", and I was 5'11", 219. So he was like, well, whenever I walked onto set, I'm 5'11", and I was 206. I was like, what? I'm fucking bigger than Tom Hardy was as Bane? And then I started like, maybe I need to calm it down a little bit, because I'm going to scare children. But for real, like I would, and like I still get it at work, and I'd tell people, I was like, I haven't worked out in like half a year, dude. I haven't.
You simply adopted the gains. I was born into it.
I was born into it. I was just like, I'll give directions to people, and they're like, can you tell me where this pudding is? I'm like, it's right over there. It's over here. Let me.
Just flexing and shit. And just
that's all I do. I'm just a full-time flexer. They're like, let's go ask Wes how to do this thing. And they come into my office. I'm like, doing like the crazy, sassy Hulk Hogan, like,
Yappa pie.
Yappa pie.
Indian strap match, brother.
Oh, but then it just proves the point as how fucking big some of these pro wrestlers.
Yeah.
To get onto the pro wrestling train, because we do have to talk about Daniel Bryan. Yes. But like, yes, coming in and weighing, okay, 5'11", 219 and stuff. But then you see someone like Roman Reigns walk by you. You're like, that's a big motherfucker. Like, you don't think about it until you're about 10 feet away from him.
Yeah.
And you're in okay shape yourself and all that stuff. And then you're looking and you're like, that dude's fucking jacked. Like, oh my God. But then you also see how the camera makes people look bigger. Like, Dean Ambrose, not that big a guy. Like, genuinely not that big. Like, he wouldn't look at a place if you were grocery shopping at a Walmart. Like, he's just a dude. And like, but someone who actually did scare me with two people, with how big they were. One was Braun Strowman. To actually see him in person, it was nuts because I was a few rows back. I was like 1, 2, we were on the side guardrail at a house show, and I was probably 8 seats in. And as he walked by, I still had to look up.
Oh my God!
You know what I'm saying? I'm like, fuck! Like, God damn! Yeah. So then he just walks up onto the deal and does his stuff, and I was like, that guy's a mutant. Like, oh my God. But then the person that I think surprised me the most, and you see them on TV and they look real chiseled and jacked and stuff, but just to see it in person is Apollo Crews.
Yeah.
Because I was like, God, that guy's scary. And it's funny because my wife was like, that guy has a badonkadonk butt. And like, because it was a true, like, you could tell that dude squats every single day because his thighs are bigger than I am. And I was like,
oh my God.
He's a mutant, dude. He looks like a real life Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle. It's amazing. But yeah, so you see these people and you see them on TV and you're like, oh, I bet they're pretty swole. I bet they're pretty jacked. And then they're not. But then the people like Roman Reigns, he's just thick. He's a thick boy. He walks by and you're like, I was not expecting this. Like, I know he looks a certain way on TV, but it's probably because he wears the vest. He has all this stuff on and tattoos everywhere. But then you stand next to him or like relatively close to him. You're like, whoa, I can see why they chose him now because that's a different looking guy than I thought he would look. Yeah. He's got it, man. Like, that guy, we give Roman Reigns some shit, but I see why they picked him. Like, I could put that guy on a morning show and he would eat people. Like, yeah, I could see that. But to talk about.
But then the fans sabotage and we want Braun. So it's just like the way it is.
Fair point.
We're just like, fuck it. Braun, he'll flip shit.
He'll throw another ambulance.
Oh, God. Yes. Yes, but, all the yes.
Oh, but to talk about Daniel Bryan. So Daniel Bryan has been cleared to return to action. He actually, was it last week? Him and Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens did their deal at the end and actually had him do some drop kicks and had him go and did his, and I'm glad those are the two people that they're bringing. Like, has that been confirmed? I haven't got to watch SmackDown this week. Is that the match at WrestleMania? Like, is it going to be Daniel Bryan, let's see. Are they bringing Shane and Shane? Okay.
As of right now, Shane is still supposed to be on the show.
Okay.
But I mean, we're kind of not even sure like how much of a work the injury was because you don't throw around diverticulitis. I mean,
yeah, whenever they said that, and I was like, is this supposed to be a weird like Brock Lesnar thing? Like, are they? But diverticulitis is. That's what put Brock on the shelf.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to kind of retire from MMA for a while to get over that because that's a serious deal. But then, of course, they worked it as an angle whenever he came back for that first time. But yeah, diverticulitis is a serious condition. And yeah, I don't know. The whole thing with Daniel Bryan, I'm very excited to see him back. I'm happy that he's back because I know how much he loves performing in the ring.
Yes.
He talked about it in his book. He talks about it on Total Divas all the time. Like, he trains, and his poor wife is like, babe, you don't need to train all the time. Like, you haven't wrestled in forever. And he's like, one day I'm going to do it. One day, So to see him be able to do it again makes me happy. But, like, his retirement speech, he talked about having seizures. Like, he had such brain damage done that he was like, they thought he had epilepsy. They did, they were... And I'm like, you don't mess with that fucking bad juju, man. Like, I don't want to see a single headbutt. I don't want, I feel bad. People talk shit on the WWE doctors. Like, why won't they clear him? Why won't they clear him? And I was like, I wouldn't clear him.
Mm-hmm.
I'd be the bad guy and people would hate me forever, but
Mm-hmm.
it takes one time.
Yep.
It takes one.
And
it
that
scares me to death.
And that's one of the reasons why, like, one of the conditions to him being cleared is after every match, he gets a full
Good.
concussion test.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if he fails even one, it's done. Like,
Good. Okay. That makes me feel better. But
Yeah.
like we talked about even before recording, like I'm no doctor. We're not doctors.
Yeah.
If his doctor said he's fine and WWE doctor finally buckled and said he's fine, he's fine. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's fine. It's not up to us. But like, ooh, that shit makes me nervous. I don't know. Like, give him a few more WrestleManias and then have him like go back. Have him pull a Christian to where he retired, but not really. Like he didn't come out and do a speech. He just didn't stop showing up.
But then he went to TNA, so I mean, there was that. And,
that one well.
I mean, he was a world heavyweight champion for the NWA, so I mean, that's not a horrible thing.
Yeah, that's true. And like, good guy. Met him once. Good guy. Genuinely like a decent person that you could talk to.
Yeah.
And at the time, I guess Miz was still in his work or whatever, but he hated talking to people, so he was like, he like shooed me away. Which now I have a source of pride. But but yeah, it's the Daniel Bryan stuff. It makes me happy. I'm thinking of all the dream matches and stuff, but I'm also like, is this going to be a Mick Foley thing? Is this going to be he'll retire 4 times? And
I honestly think that it's one of those situations where if he fails again and can't compete, it's done.
Okay.
Because I mean, he's got a family now and all the other stuff, and and I mean, he's agreed to these terms, so it's
which is good. And I mean, because the part that scares me is in his book, he talks about how stubborn he is.
Yeah.
And he was like, I know the way that I work. I know the way that I work best. I'm never going to change.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, ooh, because maybe, like, I love the whole Miz Daniel Bryan stuff because during the start of it, like a few weeks after, the retirement speech and all that stuff, and like on Talking Smack or Talking Raw or whatever they were on, whenever Miz brought up the point, like, you think you're a badass and you're talking shit on me that I'm lazy, but I can still wrestle.
Yeah.
Like, you fucked up your own career because you're this hardcore, like, oh, look at me being a submission showcase. Guess who works safe and doesn't have to retire? This guy. And I was like, I agree with that. Like, you hate to hear it, and it got him huge heat. But he's not wrong. Like, he works a safe style. There's a reason why John Cena's been the man for 12 years. Because he can work 12 years. Like, that guy's an animal. Same thing with Roman Reigns. People talk shit on the Superman punch, but you could Superman punch in your 70s.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just like the fucking leg drop,
Oh, yeah, dude. And Ric Flair, Ric Flair's crazy because he takes back bumps at like 90. But that dude's on another level.
He isn't even isn't even trying to sell anything. He'll just walk out of the corner and back bump and shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, what the fuck?
He's like, whoa, calm down, sir. Like, you don't got to do that anymore. But yeah, so the guys that work, there's that old saying in wrestling that you don't know how to work until you work hurt.
Yeah.
Because you got to hide it. You got to hide the fact that you have broken ribs. So what bumps are you going to take where you don't fuck your ribs up anymore?
Yeah.
Like, that's how you learn how to work. And I'm interested to see the changes that Daniel Bryan's going to do. Like, I still want him to do the running knee, the running high knee, the Kenta knee. Do it. Like, do that. Great. Don't do the goat headbutt. Get that shit out of here. Don't do the tope. Don't do that stuff. Anything where because you look back now, and like, I know it's faux pas to say, but you look back at like Chris Jericho versus Chris Benoit at WrestleMania. Count how many headshots Chris Benoit takes. It's loaded now. you watch it and you're like, oh, like it.
Is that
like
the one? Is
yeah,
that the
yes,
one?
exactly. That in the back of your mind, you're like, fuck. Like, yeah, great match, great wrestler, but you're like, you don't want to have that thought of like, this is going to be the one that kills him, or this is going to be the one. But like for some reason, I don't know what it is about me, but that's kind of what I think. Because I was like, okay, I'm interested to see this match, and it's nice to see him out there. But like, I'm almost like beelining in, like, don't do the top rope, don't do that. I'm in my mind, I'm like, don't do this move, don't do that move. I don't like it. And like even seeing, and Daniel Bryan knows how to take the turnbuckle power bomb or the outside,
bomb,
the buckle bomb,
apron bomb,
the apron bomb. Like, yeah, it's a dangerous move and stuff, but Daniel Bryan knows how to take it because he kind of helped invent the thing. So it's like he knows how to take that move, and that's crazy, and no, we're gonna bring out the stretcher and play it as an angle. But it's like there's gonna be one time it doesn't quite work like that. Like, and it could be anything. It could be a freaking hell. What happened to I can't think of the wrestler's name, but the Lucha wrestler that was in the ring with Rey Mysterio died from whiplash.
Yeah.
Just died. The dude just died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Dude died in the ring. Like, they throw him in the ropes. He hits the ropes. Or I think he was prepping for the 619, right? And then, like, or something happened. I think it started whenever he fell back, and then he literally fell into the ropes. And it was a big controversy, like, 2 or 3 years ago. And, like, whenever he hit the ropes, he was in position for the 619. But then I guess what happened is, like, as Ray was running to go do it, someone bumped the rope again, and, like, the dude's neck just, like, severed. It was like,
oh.
Yeah, and, like, he was just dead. And, it was gross. Like, it was, and he was kind of he was a son of somebody. He was, like, kind of royalty.
Yeah.
But
I forget the worker's name, but yeah.
It was junior, or, like, the second or the third of somebody, of a family.
Yeah.
I think it's the last name started with a P, like Pero, something like that.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, I probably should bring it up. But like Mitsuharu Misawa, God bless him, one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, died in the ring.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to think that way, but you're like, it would not be the first time it happened.
I mean, and even if somebody doesn't die in the ring, you got like a Hayabusa, where he just botched a moonsault off the second rope and snapped his neck. A
move he has done.
Oh my God.
200,000 times. Hayabusa is like the gold standard on doing moonsaults.
Yeah,
that's his thing. He is the flippy dude. Like
him and Muda, him and
Great Muda were the guys, and he just got one wrong foot on one wrong night, and he's paralyzed for life.
Yeah,
brutal. Like, it's not, it's fun and games, and we like to talk shop, and we like to talk about the kayfabe and all that shit.
Yeah,
but like at a certain level, we understand that risk, and like, you don't want to see good people getting hurt. You don't want to see anybody getting hurt. I don't care if you're a good person or not.
So like, kind of, I mean, gets a little bit off of the Daniel Bryan stuff, but I think this is something that'll be good to get your opinion on. How do you feel about Shibata?
I think what they're doing with Shibata, because now he's in kind of an ambassador role, right? Like, he's a trainer, sort of.
Yeah, he's right? He's like a kind of like a guest trainer at the LA New Japan Dojo.
Yeah.
But he had some very interesting words during the Long Beach thing.
Yeah.
Where he was just like, I'm not retired. Like, and you're just like, what? And he goes, I'll be in the ring again. And they're just like, yeah, so that's another one I would be worried about.
Oh, God, yeah, because that dude had a legit brain bleed.
Yep.
Like, one that was happening on the in and outside at the same time. Like, it was hemorrhaging in a pay-per-view, and he had a big old smile on his face. And you're like, brother, your brain could just, like, and it's done. You're lights out, brother. You don't wake up from that.
Yeah.
I think Shibata as an ambassador and Shibata as a trainer is a remarkably genius idea.
It is.
Because we need more people like that has played the rodeo, played at the biggest stages, that knows it. The same reason I think it's great that Matt Bloom is freaking Lord Tensai, what's his name? What gimmicks did
Albert.
he have? Prince Albert, yeah, is the head trainer of NXT.
Yeah.
Yes, because that dude's worked everywhere. Like,
Yep.
get those guys. Like, Norman Smiley. You bet your ass. Like, the fact that he's training people puts a giant smile on my face, because I was like, I loved watching Norman Smiley matches.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Big
And,
wiggle.
like,
All day, every day.
And Shibata's one of those guys that he will always have the handshake of, like, you know how you're a made man and you, like,
Yeah.
get the handshakes from the Italian mob and stuff, and, like,
Mhm.
you're in? Shibata's in. There's no one on the planet. He's like Inoki.
Yeah,
Like
oh,
Inoki back in the... Getting slapped in the face by Antonio Inoki was like, you just made it. It's like getting punched in the face by Denzel Washington. You're like, I'm the made man. Like, I now have the story and the seal of approval saying that, like, I was smacked in the head by Shibata. Like, Shibata took headbutts from fucking Ishii. He took, you know what I mean? Like, Nagata tore him up. So
Yeah.
this guy's been through the ringer on the hardest hitters
Yeah.
on the biggest stages.
And I was going to bring up Nagata too, and I was going to
Yeah,
say
man.
it'd be like getting stretched by Nagata.
Oh my
where
God.
it's just like,
If Nagata put me in the armbar and, like, locked my wrist out, I would be crying because I'm so happy. Like, he could break my arm. I'd let him break my arm. Yeah, I have a big smile, like thumbs up with him in the hospital. Like, I did it. I took the move. But apparently in Japanese wrestling, there are those people, right? They're called oh fuck, what are they called? Like, sponsors.
yeah,
To where they'll buy drink, like, oh, I'm a big fan of the Bullet Club. Let me bring the Bullet Club, to this nightclub, and I'll buy all of your dinner, I'll buy all of your drinks, I'll do all of this, and I'd like to hang out with you guys for 10 hours. And they're like, all right, let's do it. All
Yep.
the drinks are on that guy. So then, but whenever you get there, you see this footage of the sponsors, like, taking chest slaps from people. So, like, they'll get, like, I want to take a chest slap from Machine Gun Carl Anderson. And he's like, all right, pony up, homeboy, because you're about to get slapped in the fucking chest. Like, and it's just this little lanky business guy from
Yep.
Japan. And he's like, ha ha ha. And, like, he has his shirt open and stuff. And they come up and just wail the shit out of this guy. And he's so happy. He's, like, bleeding down his chest. And he's like, I did it. You're like, what is this? Like, oh, it's so funny.
and
It's a
sometimes
whole
the
different
sponsors
thing.
have their employees do it for them.
Yes.
Where it's just like, yeah, my employee over there. I mean, I think he needs three chops from Finn. So
Get Fergal up there and he'll give them to you, baby. It's hilarious.
Just don't
It's a
have the
whole
number
different.
form.
It's a whole different idea. But yeah, like, Shibata is royalty. I would say Daniel Bryan's royalty too, because he's wrestled everywhere. He's done it all. He's I mean, he's worked the indie circuit. I mean, and that's why I really like that segment about how Kevin Owens and, which, by the way, they got their old Twitter handles back.
Yeah.
Like Kevin Steen now, and then El Generico said hello on Twitter. So, makes me
who
very
apparently is what is it, starting tomorrow, like after we record this tomorrow, for 12 days, El Generico merch will be available on Pro Wrestling Tees again.
happy. Smart. So good.
Yep.
Kayfabe's not dead.
I guess he's done saving those orphans. I mean,
Yeah, that's right. They need him back. They need him back. Limited time. But yeah, having those two and Daniel Bryan, even if they do a 2-on-1 handicap match, like, what a great way to get Daniel Bryan back over. Yeah, and what a great way for those two guys to. I mean, all three of them they're cut from the same cloth.
Yep.
They really are. Like, came up the same year in Ring of Honor. So it's like, I guess Bryan Danielson predates them a little bit, but it's still like Christopher Daniels, Zakarian, all those guys.
Yeah.
Samoa Joe, and yeah, that was a great time in Ring of Honor, and to see all of those people kind of there now is really crazy. It's still crazy to me. That
truly bizarre.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true. Yeah, the fact that we are getting AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania is what? Like, oh, I'm just hoping Shinsuke shows up to play. I think AJ's going to make it. I think AJ's like, don't be doing your weekly TV shit. Like, we're doing a pay-per-view.
Let's do this like Japan.
Let's do a rematch of Wrestle Kingdom. If they put on a Wrestle Kingdom match, I'm gonna scream and probably kick a hole through my TV. Like, I'm gonna be so happy. Oh, but I can't get my hopes up because the same thing happened whenever they brought in Kenta. I was like, oh, Kenta's gonna fucking break some people's noses. I'm so happy, and like he did, but of course it had to be whose orbital bone did he?
Brian Kendrick.
Oh, poor Brian Kendrick. Oh, I do feel bad. I don't like people getting hurt, but once again, if Kenta broke my orbital bone, oh, you could bury me right then. It's fine.
But you got to remember, like even Shinsuke broke Austin Aries' orbital bone with the Bomie. So
that's right. Woo.
I mean, it's a thing that can happen, and
yeah.
I mean, we got I like what they're doing with the cruiserweights now.
Yes, they give them stories and let them do shit. Yeah,
and we're supposed to be getting cruiserweight tag belts, which ballsy move, but
it gives them something to do. I mean,
if you were to, I don't think there's enough cruiserweights to warrant tag belts.
Yeah, but what that might be is that might be prepping, because I mean, who'd be a real good cruiserweight tag team.
Yeah.
A few Jackson brothers.
Yeah. Generation Me.
A few of them young bucks. You get them out there and do some super kick parties.
Yeah.
I think they're starting to, because Ethan Carter. All right, we'll bring you in for the ladder match for the North American title.
Yeah.
The North American title. I know you got the UK Championship. That makes total sense. But isn't just NXT the North American title? I mean, to be fair, it's like all the American wrestlers get that shit anyway. Like, that's kind of how it's been. But yeah, it's interesting the dynamics that they're pulling, because I can see a lot of that starting to meld over to the big two, to the Raw and to the Smackdown, and let's get like when are we getting the women's tag team championships? I mean,
once again, it comes down to there's not a strong enough division. Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And I'm all for the whole equality. Like, each show has their own roster. We didn't need 2 women's titles, in my opinion. I mean, that should have been something that went between the 2 brands.
Well, and I thought that with not necessarily all of the titles, but like the WWE champion should be able to get called out on any show.
Oh yeah.
Like I felt that the heavyweight champion of the world, it doesn't matter. Like, if you're in the company, someone from NXT could call you out, and then you're like, fuck, this is my company, man. You want to talk some shit? And then you like show up on NXT. Like, that's how my view of it would be. It's like they are the top of the mountain, so they no longer have to appear on just one show. Now they're everywhere. But that makes it more exciting, because now every roster gets a chance to work with the champ. And like, now it brings up your level, and kayfabe, it brings up the level of all your people. But a majority of them have worked together anyway, so it'd be fine. But it'd be a neat way to keep it interesting, almost like a hardcore belt, like 24/7, no rules. Anywhere you could be in a parking lot at an IHOP, and if I jump you, you better have a ref, because I'm gonna pin you. That's what I thought, is your main champs need to go across, and like even WWE tag team champions.
I agree with that. They should be between the 2, because they're shallow divisions, very shallow divisions, where you have one team that's the champs, one team that's over, and then the rest that are being buried.
Yes.
We love you, Ascension.
But pour one out for Ascension.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm not doing that with this whiskey.
It costs too much, my precious. Yeah, it's weird, because there's so much good talent.
Yeah.
They have nothing to do. They're better than just house show workers. I mean, because at the end of the day, it's funny. We talked about mixing terms and stuff, about supplements and stuff, but people mix terms, even, with wrestling, like the term jobber.
Yeah.
I'll tell you who a jobber is, and that's Brock Lesnar, because he just comes to get the paycheck. He's not going on the road all the time. A jobber is not someone that goes out and loses. That's not what a jobber is. A jobber is somebody that does this only for the job. Like, they just go in, oh, my contractual obligation says I have to make 13 dates. Here are my 13 dates. Bye. And they don't do any of the Make-A-Wish stuff. They don't do nothing. They show up.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, shooters and hookers and all the stuff from back in the day.
Yeah. There's a huge difference between jobbers and jabronis. I mean, jabronis are the ones that get, they're there to put people over. That's their whole job.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah. And like people think, oh, the jobber's this, the jobber that. No, Al Snow's Job Squad and stuff. And it's like, no, that was on the nose. But they were poking fun at the people like, who was it at the time that would just kind of show up just to show up? And, like another perfect jobber is Vince McMahon. Like, he's a jobber. He just shows up when he gotta. You know, I mean, that's what it is. So, there's a lot of lesser known talent that can work up the ranks. But then you make your champs jobbers. You make it to where I'm going to call out the champ, and next Tuesday you better be here or you're a wuss. Then you got to watch. Is he actually going to show up? And sometimes he might not. Sometimes he's like, you know what? I had shit to do today. I'm sorry.
Ideally, like championship-wise, like the way I would look at it is, and I agree with you with the WWE Championship being like between the two shows. Yeah, I mean, NXT is a little bit of a stretch because a lot of those guys are still being groomed. So I'll give you that. But yeah, the top WWE Championship, the Women's Championship, the tag belts, those should be between the two shows.
Yeah.
But what about everybody else? Okay, well, bring back like the European title, put that on one of the shows. So you have like, for example, the United States and Intercontinental Championship on like SmackDown.
Yeah.
On Raw, you have the Intercontinental and I don't know, like some other championship. I mean, you have that there. So you have two secondary titles that are there that are specific to that brand. You have the main titles that are between the two brands, and you allow, like, especially with pay-per-views now being dual branded. I mean, it doesn't make sense to have such redundancy.
Right. And if they really want to build the gimmick on the competing shows, oh, I'm general manager of Raw, which is better than general manager of SmackDown.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything anymore because now everyone has the same championships. Yeah. So it's not like, well, we have the world champ. Well, we have our own world champ. Like, oh, we'll have them fight. And you're like, okay, sure. But what would be cooler is, let's say 1 year, if everything was crossed over and everything like that, let's say every main title was on Raw. It just so happened to be that the stack of Raw superstars were the ones that held the belts. And then SmackDown gets pissed and does an invasion angle on their own fucking show. Like, you can have the SmackDown people come to Raw and infiltrate. So you have that, or then you have an open challenge from the Raw team. Hey, we're the best brand. Anyone from SmackDown, you know what? Well, even someone that maybe might be from NXT. But then you pull someone like that would have been a cool way to bring back Goldberg or something. And it's like they get a ringer and they're like, oh, you want somebody? Let me get, Kenny Omega. And he's now the SmackDown guy and he's going to be our ringer to take on AJ Styles, which is your champ, And now you have this whole like rivalry feud. So when the draft comes back around, it's more important. You can really build it up like, oh, well, SmackDown's a more popular brand because all the champs are over there. So I want to be on SmackDown, but now everyone all has the same exact belts. So it's like, I guess I'll show up wherever I'm hosted at. Who cares?
Yeah. And I mean, I see the complaint a lot about like New Japan. It's like, oh, they have so many titles. They need them. Like,
yes. Yeah.
Like the IWGP Heavyweight Championship gets defended once every 3-4 months?
Yes, right. And it makes the belt important.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that, man. Can you watch a Wrestle Kingdom Intercontinental Championship match?
It's important.
Like, you are on the edge of your seat because you're like, this is a big deal because they're not going to have a rematch for another 7 months. Like, this is who is the future of this company.
He wants a rematch. He better win the New Japan Cup. Like,
and then there's a built. I mean, Gato and all of they are scholars of the game.
Yeah.
Of like, I'm blown away that Jim Cornette is not drooling over New Japan Pro Wrestling, because that's what his mindset is.
Yeah.
Like, have one person be the champ for 2 years. Then whenever he gets knocked out, that's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of passing this belt around like candy and, oh, we're going to make up a new belt. And here's the new version of the belt. And isn't this shiny? And isn't this a big piece of leather? And, oh, it's blue now instead of red. Like, who cares? Like, it's going to change again in 10 minutes, so why should I care?
What you really need is prestige to your titles.
Yes.
New Japan does that very well. It doesn't matter if it's even the never open weight, like that is actually pretty prestigious. Like,
yes.
It goes to like the heavy hitters. Like, if you're watching a never open weight match, you know there's going to be some fucking strikes. You know people are going to get fucking stretched. Ooh. That's what you expect out of that.
Yeah.
You know, you look at like a IWGP World Heavyweight Championship bout, you're looking at like the culmination of a story, you know?
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. And the belts mean something. It's not like WWE where, you know, like, oh, well, like Brock's had the championship for how long? Like, I think that him having it for as long as he has, which has been about a year now, right?
Yeah, because that's whenever you won it from Goldberg, right? Last WrestleMania.
And it's like, oh, well, he doesn't. People make the argument, oh, well, he doesn't defend it all the time. He doesn't need to.
No, he doesn't have to. Why doesn't he? He's a champ.
Yeah.
He doesn't got to do shit. Like, I've never understood that.
It makes his defenses more of a deal.
Yes.
You know? Because you're just like, is this the one where like one of the regular guys gets a chance to hold the belt, you know?
Right. Yeah, is this going to be the one? Exactly. And then on the flip side of it, because keeping it where, okay, champ's only going to fight 3 times a year, so you better pick your poison. That's smart because it does build that allure to it. But on the flip side, once again, I know every podcast I kind of go on a small little John Cena love train, but what John Cena did with the U.S. Championship was genius. Because no one gave a flying shit about that belt. They were like, U.S. champion, what is this? Like, this is a Jim Duggan belt from back in 1972? Like, who cares? It's a gimmick. Like, the whole thing's just dumb.
Yeah.
But then, when Cena held it, and he had the matches with CM Punk, and he had the matches with Daniel Bryan, and he had the matches with Alberto Del Rio, and it was the best shit they had ever done in WWE. Like, that, I still freak out the fact that CM Punk was able to do a pile driver live on Raw, televised, and didn't get fined out the ass. He did an actual, I will drive your head into the mat, this has been illegal for 20 years, pile driver. And then John Cena follows it up with a freaking, like, a Canadian destroyer. He does the full front flip, grabs CM Punk, does a flip, and drives his ass down with a pile driver. And I was like, John Cena, what the fuck? Like, it blew me away because they were like, oh, this is for the U.S. belt. This is a big deal. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? And then they go out and they have maybe match of the year that year on Raw, fucking televised. And they break laws, like they break the wrestle code. They do all this shit. And you're like, what are they doing? I was this close to expecting a chair shot to the face. They were already going and breaking all these rules. And I was like, I'm this close to seeing it. CM Punk getting wailed in the face. And just to break every rule they have in the book. But then whenever, John Cena pinned Punk 1, 2, 3, that place popped like crazy. Because they were like, what did we just watch? Like, John Cena's doing moonsaults off the top rope. Like, what is happening? This is Bizarro land. And then Daniel Bryan comes out.
Who messed with his move set?
It's like, hold on. Who told him to go out there and wrestle? Never do that again. Like, he's going to hurt himself. But it was clean. It was beautiful. Yeah. And then the fights with Daniel Bryan. And then he brought up Cesaro. That's where Cesaro got his first big push, was that U.S. Championship match. Like, Cena did that thing wonders. And then who did they give it to after that? And it got fucking buried. Because there was incentive until someone else won it. And then it was one of those, oh, I'm going to lose it tonight, and then I'll win it back, and then I'll lose it tonight. And then you're like, oh, okay. John Cena had it for about a year. And over the year, he did the open challenge. That's what it was. It was the Open USA Championship Challenge. And anyone in the back that thinks they can get this belt from me, come and take it. And no one could.
You had NXT guys come up.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it's
Great.
just, I thought it was, like, honestly, it was one of the better ways to handle that. Because as a secondary title, I mean, it still needed importance. You couldn't just throw it on, you know, somebody and say, well, you're the mid-card guy, do it. You give it to somebody at the top of their game that's been there for a while and let them kind of add a little shine to that belt, so to speak, you know?
For sure. Absolutely. That's what I thought they were going to do with Daniel Bryan, oddly enough, whenever he won the Intercontinental Championship. Because in his book, he talks about belts in importance and things like that. And he was like, oh, it's a shame WWE doesn't have those. He was like, I really appreciate what Shinsuke Nakamura did with the Intercontinental Championship in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yep.
He had it for what, like 4.5 years or something?
Something like
no
that,
one,
yeah.
no
Holy
one could take
shit.
it. Oh yeah, and that's where it was like him versus Shibata, him versus like Bushi, him versus That was the first time I saw him versus Kota Ibushi. Was that it was for the Intercontinental belt, but it wasn't at Wrestle Kingdom. It was on like some G1 Climax something, and unreal. Like it was violent, it was beautiful, it was like. And I was like, who are these guys? Because I should have been watching this shit years ago. And it was like, it was short hair Shinsuke. Like, it was back whenever he was, like, tussling it out a little bit and stuff.
Pre-chaos Shinsuke, yeah.
Yeah, and it's, before that really started taking off, he was still wearing his traditional wrestle tights and stuff. But they started working hard, and you're like, there's something to this. But it allowed them to all evolve into what they become.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so now it's because of the Intercontinental Championship and people wanted it so bad, but they could never quite get it. That you had these like built-in stories, and that's why that Wrestle Kingdom match between Ibushi and Shinsuke is poetry. Like, it's for that belt, and that they already tried it a few times, and Ibushi could never quite get it. He couldn't quite get it, and he still couldn't get it. You know, fuck. You know, and then you do the payoff on that same pay-per-view of Okada not being able to beat Tanahashi, and then like openly weeping. Like Okada was weeping as he's getting escorted back to the thing, and he's like, "Oh, I can't do it." And then Tanahashi says, "Like, I like the cut of your jib, young man, but you're not the fucking ace." And I was like, "Oh!" Like it's just like heart wrenching. And you're like, Okada's gonna get it one day. He's gonna get it one day. And the next Wrestle Kingdom, it happened.
I mean, what is it? Shinsuke fucking carried that Intercontinental title up until about the time he left.
Yes. Yeah.
Like,
I think he got beat by
like New Year's Dash or some shit. Like a couple days after Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
He ended up dropping it.
And he dropped it to oh god, it wasn't Ishii. It was who did he drop it to? Now I gotta remember it. But it was one of those like shocking, like, oh my god, it finally happened. And they were ballsy enough to just make it happen. And so it was like kind of a devastating blow, but it's still it didn't take anything away from Shinsuke, and it certainly didn't take anything from the belt. It boosted up the person that won. And that's what should happen. Instead of like, oh, it's the USA belt, and like now it's a burden. Like, you hold on to this while I use the bathroom. Like one of those type of things. It was more of a John Cena's going to use this belt as a platform to showcase other talent. And then the person that they deem worthy is going to win it from him. Like, that's what that was a catapult for.
Nakamura actually didn't lose the belt. He dropped it. He vacated it when he left. So he had it.
So if he ever goes back, he's like, give me my belt.
Well, okay, so here's the... shit, he had 5 fucking reigns. His first reign was 313 days. Then he dropped it to La Sombra. Better, you know.
Yes.
Andrade Cien Almas.
Woo-hoo.
Who ended up winning it back for 168 days. He lost it to Tanahashi. He won it back for 76 days. Lost it to Bad Luck Fale. Then he won it back 224 days. Lost it to Goto.
Goto's who I'm thinking of, I think. Yeah.
And then he won it back, and he had it for 120 days before he dropped it.
God, that is like 4 years, like 3.
And then
years.
at New Beginning was Tanahashi and Omega, and Omega got the title after that. So, Yeah, there's
a
only
bigger
been 17 champions, and 5 of them are Nakamura. So,
Oh God! Like, how loaded is that shit?
like, the only other person that has, like, there's only 2 other people that have more than 1 Intercontinental title reign, and that is Goto and Tanahashi. Only 2 that have more than 1 reign.
See, and that's where WWE goes on there like, the numbers don't lie, and they do all these stats, and it's of 85 tons of people have been inside of the Royal Rumble, and you're like, all right, but like, that number is interesting. Like, there have been 17 people, and 5 of them are Nakamura. And you're like, God damn, like, that holds weight.
So, and I mean, here's the other thing. Like, yeah, he had 5 reigns. Combined defenses were 17. He only defended it 17 times.
Over
between
the course of
2012 to 2016.
Yeah.
He defended it 17 times and held the belt for a combined reign of 901 days.
Dang.
That's nuts, dude.
The next one, Tanahashi, 5 defenses, 322 days total combined reign. I mean,
nuts.
yeah.
They just don't hand those things out.
No.
Like, they keep them close to the chest.
Yeah. I mean, they'll transition them between guys for like story purposes, but typically if you end up, if your name isn't Tanahashi, if you get a belt, I mean, they see something in you and they're going to keep it with you for a while. Yeah. Tanahashi is kind of one of those guys where you've been here long enough. We'll give this to you for now. We know you'll do, you're the ace, blah, blah, blah. You're the fucking ace. You'll hold it for like 90 days and then you'll drop it back to them, and it helps build stuff up. So
it gives you something to do and people like you. And
it gives you something to do so you don't have to get that bicep taken care of. And
he needs to get that shit taken care of.
Yeah, he's wrestling again. So I mean, that's the thing. Yeah,
these people, man.
Yeah, Tanahashi doesn't give a single fuck.
Yeah,
like he's just like, I'm healed. They're like, no, you need surgery. No, I'm healed.
Yeah, he's like, no. Yeah, he's like Cena.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But the weird thing is, Cena actually does heal. And that either tells me steroids or he's Wolverine. Like, one of the, because when was that elbow thing? You remember whenever he had that giant, like, it was almost like a cyst on his elbow. It was huge. It was like fluid and stuff. And, he made the joke. He was like, well, and he shows it to the camera and he's all proud of it. And he's like, well, they told me I'm going to be out for 9 months on this. And everyone cheers. And he's like, I'll be back in 6 weeks. And everyone's like, oh, motherfucker was back in 6 weeks. Like, he was actually back. And people were like, it was funny. You could see people in the crowd were actually like, that's really impressive, actually. That takes people out for like a year. That guy came back and
they said 9 months. I'm saying 6 weeks. I'll see you next month. And it's like 3 weeks later, he's back, and you're like, what the fuck?
And he's actually healed. Like, it's not he's just fighting through the pain. He's so tough.
There's no scar anymore or anything. Like, it's completely.
And like the behind the scenes WWE.com stuff. Like, even doctors are like, so you want to tell us how you do this? Like, you have like life-altering injuries and then you don't anymore. You just don't. You just heal and absorb and then you're done.
Oh, it looks like Cena broke his neck in this match. Oh, he'll be fine by the time he makes it to the back.
Yeah, exactly. He'll do the interview. It's great.
Oh my God.
But like, once again, that's why he was champ for 12 years. Like, that guy, you can't stop him. You cannot stop him. You know? And what I'm hoping to kind of wrap up on Cena is I'm hoping that he's becoming old, fogey, bitter Cena. It's not quite a heel turn.
No.
But it's like, you rascals, you don't know what it's like. Like, I can get behind that slightly gray hair, salt and pepper Cena. Oh yeah, I'm down for that for sure. He can still come out in the jorts, like, because then that story takes a turn to where, like, yeah, he doesn't change, but now you can build the sympathy of like, he's kind of the old man wanting his limelight back, right? And he wants to, kind of Hulk Hogan whenever he does the this and the this and the oh brother, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, at a certain point, it's almost like sad. It's like The Wrestler with Mickey Rourke, and you're like,
that movie is so heartbreaking.
That is my favorite. Well, who's the director for it? The guy that did like Requiem for a Dream.
Aronofsky.
Yeah, Aronofsky. My favorite Aronofsky movie. because it's heartbreaking. It's
yeah.
it's so heart wrenching, and it has what's his face, Necro Butcher or whatever. I was like, good on you, man. Get you in the Screen Actors Guild. Get you a credit.
I mean, it's kind of like it's one of those films that if you haven't seen it, like I definitely recommend it.
Absolutely.
Have fucking tissues though.
Yeah,
because you will fucking cry.
And and the reason why it's so sad is because it's so real.
Yeah.
And my favorite deal, and kind of a spoiler, but like you actually have to see it in the movie to really get the emotional impact of it. It still gets me because, you know, here's Randy the Ram Anderson. What's his name? Like, I know it's Randy the Ram.
Yeah.
And he does this like ram horns, and he comes down with the elbows and stuff. But, you know, he hasn't worked in a while. No place wants to book him. He has a bunch of drug problems. And then he actually gets a job. Like his girlfriend, who's a stripper, is like, no, we need to get you a job. Like, you know, you're going to do this job interview. I know a guy, he works at the grocery store. Maybe they can get you a job at the meat market. Like the meat stuff. And
I know what you're talking about.
So, like, that's the part where I started bawling. Because it was so beautifully shot and so good. But Mickey Rourke is putting on his apron to go to work. Like, it's his third or fourth day on the job, and he hates it. He hates the job, but he knows he has to do it, and he has to try to change his life. And he's, like, putting on his hairnet and stuff. But then they put in the sound of, like, lacing up behind the scenes, Randy the Ram Anderson, and the crowd going crazy and stuff, but it's just a lonely guy. And he's, like, just putting this stuff on. And then it builds and it builds. And he walks through the curtain, you know, the curtain at the grocery store where you go and you do that, but they sync it up with him walking through the like big rope for WrestleMania or whatever, and like huge crowd roar and stuff. And then the crowd roar dies down, and then you hear the shitty music over the intercom. Like so it's this weird dichotomy of like, you know, that's what he's thinking about in his mind, but
well, I mean, life, the kind of preface things. I mean, the beginning of the film, he's asking for days off so he can do wrestling shows.
Yes,
because he's working as a receiver for like for the grocery store.
Yep.
And it's like, and they're just like, we can't give you every fucking weekend off. You know, like
you need to be.
Where it's what. You know, then he asked for more days, and I'm like, oh, what, did the price of tights get more expensive for you and stuff like just little shit like that.
Oh, it just digs at him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the ending, you're like, oh, this is tough.
Yeah,
it's tough to watch.
I know I've heard like workers who have seen the film like talk about it, and I'm not talking about like guys coming up. I'm talking about like the Pipers and stuff like that, and like Piper's just like that was the truest and most heartbreaking wrestling film I've ever seen.
Vince McMahon hated it. Vince hated it. Oh my God.
Vince hated it. Cornette hates it because it exposed the business. Like,
oh my God.
But Vince didn't want people to think about that side of it. They wanted like, oh, Ultimate Warrior's a superhero.
Yeah.
He's your favorite from being a kid, but like this is the real shit. And and like, but that's why, and they didn't, you know, Vince didn't want Mickey Rourke as a part of WrestleMania, but Chris Jericho's like, no, he's a brother now. Like Mickey Rourke doing that movie and putting himself out there on behalf of us. He's a fucking brother. I'm gonna have him punch me in the head at WrestleMania, and he's gonna get a big crowd pop because he deserves it. Like
because Rourke learned to work for that movie.
Oh yeah,
like that's commitment. I mean, you look at his early stuff, you look like Popa Greenwich Village and stuff like that, and then you see his evolution in The Wrestler, and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah, man, and he does, and it's so cool to see Necro Butcher, who's a guy that I think is legit crazy out of his mind, but he's really smart.
Yeah,
he's a really smart guy. He's a really soft-spoken guy.
Yeah,
but I think they work together, like CZW. Like they brought him in and they're like teaching him how to, you know, run the ropes and skin the cat and let's go home and we're good to go. But I need to go back and rewatch it because I want to pause it and see who I can see in it because I think Becky Lynch is in there.
She may have been,
but she's still a brunette. Like she's not orange hair Becky Lynch. She's what was her name before? In the Irish Wrestling Federation or whatever it was.
Oh, I forget. She might have been working under her shoot name, Rebecca Quinn.
Yeah, like Becky Quinn, might have been. Something like and right. So there's people like that though, and you're like, wait, I know that person. wait, I know that person. And you're like, you like see him, and I want to go back now because I bet some of them is probably going to be like Kevin Steen, and I'll be like, they were in that fucking movie. Who knew? But
what's even funnier about that movie, like, is a lot of it was filmed like around where I grew up. So like I'll be watching it, and I'm just like, I know that house.
I know that video rental store.
Yeah. It's just like, I know that street. I got robbed on that one once. It's just like,
God, I got jacked on that one. Yeah. Oh, and then just a scene where he's in the trailer and he's playing Super Nintendo because that's the only wrestling game he was in.
Yeah.
So all the kids come over and he's like, "Have I showed you this game that I'm in?" And they're like, "Oh, whatever, old man." And you're like, "Oh, like it's like Virgil the movie is what it is."
No, because he's not like, he doesn't invite them in and go, "That'll be $20."
Yeah, $20 please. Yeah. Oh, speaking of, to wrap this up, I know we've already run real long, but there's the newest OSW review that's on YouTube and stuff. And if you don't watch Old School Wrestling Podcast, go do it because they watch an entire pay-per-view. Honestly, it's a lot like what you guys have going on with Gimmick Back.
Yeah.
And they talk about just the past and history and stuff of these workers as it comes up. And super funny show. They have a What Bar segment, like great stuff. To where they make wrestlers look like what candy bar do they look like? Oh, well, they're wearing red and black, so he looks like a crackle bar. Or whatever, like they do that all the time, right? But they actually have their most recent one is pretty magical. They God, what do they talk about the Royal Rumble, and they talk about some past Royal Rumble stuff, which is why I thought about it with the Mickey Rourke stuff. They bring up some just really weird stuff. But yeah, they bring up some absolute gems, and it's stuff that I think like next episode we can talk about because digs into some deep history on a few wrestlers, and it's really interesting.
Well, I mean, it'd be great if Mark goes back from his 14-week ferry from Japan.
That's right, man. It's so good. Oh, we'll get him on. We'll get the good brother himself on. We'll shoot the shit. But guys, thank you so much for hanging out on this. Let's see, how long have we gone? Almost 2-hour podcast. Good times. It is what it is, right?
Well, I mean, we missed a lot because we were gone for a month. So
that's true. Yeah, we were getting schedules worked out and everything, but we're back. And of course, you can find us on, let's see, freaking Google Play Store. You can find us on iTunes. You can find us on twitch.tv/Precipice Podcast. Is that the right? Yep. Precipice Podcast.
That's it.
Go to that one. We didn't bring it up this time, but like my slow movement back to Twitch is picking up more steam because now I'm like, I don't feel like doing any YouTube videos.
Yep.
We're just doing live streams. That's kind of where we're going right now. So I got some more stuff coming, but right now it's just live streams. That's what we're doing. But yeah, so thank you, Maury, for joining. It's always a pleasure. And
good to be back.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Todd, for being here. Yeah, good time. But that's our time, guys. Thanks for hanging out. We will see you next week. Hopefully next week. Here on Brothering Around. Bye!
Bye-bye! I love the princess wave.